It's a cold winter morning in Sydney, Australia. On the North Shore, before the dawn breaks, 4 elderly men leave the comfort of their beds to start their daily swimming training.
My name is Ray McGimpsey, and I'm 90 years old. Here I go.
My name is Ozzy Doherty. I'm 91 years old.
Well, my name is John Sheridan. I am now 92.
My name is Max van Gelder. I'm not telling you how old I am just yet.
Our ages combined is 360 years. This is almost 4 centuries.
A very special swimming squad will attempt to break a national record.
Reporter Sarah White caught up with the team trying to set a new national record.
Okay. It's now 5 a.m. in the morning and the weather is chilly. It's winter, almost 2 hours before the sun will rise. You would probably be under the blankets. Not me. I don't like lying in bed. I prefer to face the cold to swim at Curl Beach. The temperature now is less than 9 degrees. This is my routine every morning. At 5:30 I walk 2 kilometres and then at 6 I go into the rock pool and swim a few laps. It's usually warmer in the water than it is out. So you've got to get from the pool into the change rooms and have a cold shower. That wakes you up. And then I get dressed and I walk very rapidly to the coffee shop and have a nice hot cup of coffee. It warms you up.
I began learning to swim only about 11 months ago. I haven't swum since school days. So I started off with backstroke as there are less problems with breathing. Since taking up swimming, I've found a remarkable improvement in my breathing. I would like to learn to swim freestyle. My neighbour and friend, John Sheridan, is coaching me on this. He is 92. In for a training session, eh?
Well, my name is John Sheridan. In my life, swimming has been a big part. And luckily, I had a friend. I had many friends I've lost, which is regrettable. But actually, he introduced me to masters swimming. And that would be about 32 years ago. And I believe, and I really mean this, that without swimming, I wouldn't have lived so long. And I feel that swimming and this village has been tremendous for me, really.
I never joined a gym until I was about 70 years of age, and was inspired by a coach who told me at this age you need to look after your upper body strength. It did make me stronger for swimming. Hard exercise is good exercise, and now after 17 years I still do my body strength work. It's been very good for me. It's a matter of making time to look after your own health. And many people say, I haven't got time. If you haven't got time to look after your own health, there'll be a sorry state. I come out of the pool, I do weight work, and I feel, oh, there's oxygen everywhere. And you come out and you feel fantastic, really. So you get a feeling of well-being. I never thought of being in a team where the average age was 90, because I'm nowhere near 90.
Life is full of surprises. A swimming team of 90-year-olds has never officially competed in Australia. Then in 2016, the challenge became a reality. Max would be part of the legendary group that would face the as-yet unachieved record.
360 relay team was conceived by John Willemsteen. He was 93 years old, so he needed 3 other swimmers to make up an average of 90. So he found 2 other swimmers, which was John Sheridan and Ozzy Doherty, and they didn't have a 4th swimmer. So one day I was talking to John Willem and he said, you can come in because you're 86 and we just make it.
I had a dive.
You don't? Okay.
Very good. Get out of it.
We did come together a few times before our attempt in October 2016, and on the last attempt, the day before, the 3 of us, which is John Sheridan, Ozzy and myself, we were waiting for John Steen to arrive. John Pagnon went to pick him up to bring him down.
John Pagden went on his way to pick up John Willemsteen. The other 3 arrived on time and waited. What they didn't realise is that they would be kept waiting and waiting for their teammate.
We waited quite a long time for John. It seemed late.
So I went to collect John Willemsteen, who lived on his own at 92 in Forestville in an apartment. And when I got there, he was lying on the floor in his apartment. And I said, John William, are you all right? And he said, yeah, I think so. I got him to sit in a chair. And then he said to me, come on, we've got to go because I've got to swim. We've got to do this interview. And he stood up and walked to the door. And he collapsed into my arms. I called 000 and they came quickly, but he died.
When I got a call, we were on pool deck at the Warringah Aquatic Centre to say that John Steen had just died.
John Willemsteen, the founder of the first 360 swimming squad in Australia, died in the arms of his friend. Departing at 93 years old, he was only one day from seeing his dream come true.
At that time, it was a terrible thing for me. I had then to go to the other members of the team and tell them.
And when John Pagden, who was bringing him, arrived without him, and John, you could see, was in a state of shock.
And I had to phone his son as well.
Which was very, very sad. I mean, it was a terrible shock. We lost our backstroke swimmer.
While the loss of John William Steen was a reminder that death can arrive at any time, it spurred within the three swimmers an inspiration to do their best to fulfill his wish and to live their lives to the fullest.
We didn't have a team the day after was the competition, which went ahead anyway, and there was a few hundred people there. And when it came to the relays, we made it a commemorative swim for John Steen.
We agreed that we should have a memorial swim because in his apartment, the whole apartment was full of his medals and his photographs of world championships that he'd been to. Loved swimming. That was what he was all about.
John Steen was a lovely guy. He actually came from Holland as well. He migrated to Australia. And swimming in his last so many years was his passion. Our term in Australia is he was a happy chappie, and he died a happy chappie.
Each one, including John William himself, knew that their physical condition would be delicate at this age. They've also prepared their minds, recognising the fragility of life. Yet the loss was still hard to take.
It's hard for me because he was a good friend, and for somebody to die in your arms, it's not easy. It's not easy. I still think about it quite a bit, but the only thing I would say, and I'll say this for all the older people who should take exercise and should swim, that John William lived for swimming. He died going to do what he wanted to do, and I'm sure that wherever you are, John, you would say it was worth it.
The loss of John William Steen had a tremendous impact on the team. But instead of dissolving the relay group, the three chose to look for another swimmer to fulfill John William's dream.
So, then come early this year, John Sheridan said, I've got a go at the retirement village, and he can probably do the distance, and he's just turned 90, and we can reactivate the 360 team.
It's not easy to find a good swimmer. Finding good swimmers in their 90s could be seen as mission impossible. But they needed a good backstroke team member, and they found him.
His name is Ray, and he can do backstroke.
So I used to watch Ray, because we were doing gym together, and I used to watch him swim, and I thought, well, there might be a chance. So I spoke to Ray about it. I said, do you think you would like to compete as a relay swimmer doing backstroke? He does it very well. In fact, he's not now a bad breaststroker either. So he didn't need much coaching, really.
Ray had never undertaken formal training before. He never even dreamed of being invited to join a swimming squad. He never had swum in a big pool, and this was a huge challenge he would have to face ahead of him. The first swimming competition of his life would be in the Olympic pool at the age of 90.
It was very intimidating in the Olympic pool for a start, thinking of people like Ian Thorpe and Dawn Fraser, whereas I was just an ordinary person, hadn't swum since school days, and I felt it was frightening, but it was very exciting also.
To accomplish his mission, Ray had to overcome the anticipation of competing with only 3 months of training.
The first race I went in was 50 metres, and I actually got a little lost halfway down and went under the ropes, but I kept going, and this was good practice for later on, for when we actually did the relay. It was amazing having completed the 50 metres and then suddenly to find there were nearly 100 people giving me a cheer and all helping me on. It was quite an incredible feeling.
4 members of the team set the national record for the 360, and they held that swim in honour and in memory of John Williams.
The 4 of them finished and turned John Williams' dream into reality. The spectators applauded in respect and admiration. While the marks sculpted by time are visible on their bodies, their resilience and enthusiasm for life could not be diminished.
We did it and we finished it without mishaps. Because you're talking about people in their 90s. Anything can happen. Now, I've seen people in international competition too that in their 90s that fall in the water, fall off the side of the pool, and they're disqualified. Not only in relays, also personal stuff. Because not all people are stable. John Sheridan, I think, got a bit of vertigo, so he doesn't get on the blocks anymore because he's afraid of falling off, that sort of thing. So I think the achievement is that we did it. As anything else, do it, try it, make an attempt to do it, and if you don't try, you never know where you're going to succeed.
This was quite amazing to get the 360, all of us, our ages, totting up to that. It was something I hadn't thought of before, and to find out I was part of it was a tremendous thrill. It was amazing to realise this was the first time this had actually been done in Australia, so we can regard ourselves as pioneers.
In the context of their huge achievement, they are pioneers for their generation in the pool, and yet they are humble in the way they cherish the accomplishment. They hold the memories and treasure the swimming cap printed for the team.
That's about the team. This here is was specially designed. This was designed for the team. And at the moment I think there's only 4 left in Australia, and it's the 4 of us that have one. That's a 360 team, relay team. There you go.
I think the real achievement is that it tells you that age isn't a barrier, and that if you keep active, you can extend your active life.
I swam in the World Masters in Auckland, New Zealand, and I think I won about 5 medals. Oh, that one down there. This is the relay where we came 3rd, and we beat the Russians. Anyway, to engrave these things become quite expensive if you win enough of them, so I don't bother engraving anymore. They're all blank these days. So it's a great spirit. You meet some nice people too swimming. They don't seem, all the old cranky ones don't seem to go swimming.
5. Take your marks. Go!
"15 years ago, I came every week here, and there was an old man who used to walk along the beach. It's a kilometre there, a kilometre back, and he then would swim in this pool. It's 500 meters, and he would do that in winter, summer, rain, snow, every day.
So he said, well, there's a club here that you might like to join. It's called Frigid Frogs Club, and they only swim in the winter months, and yes, you should come and join it. You'd be very, very welcome. So, and he used to come and pick me up and take me and tell me when to get up in the blocks and your race next, get in. So he took all the hassle out of it. There was no problem. So he eventually talked me into it. And once you're in the water, well, I always try to do my best. Where is it? Me too. What time are you getting in? Well, mate, because I'm from 2008. How about that?
You know what the answer is when you go. Yeah, we don't need to fly up for a while.
To the swim today, first place. How's you doing here?
So that's how I started my swimming competitively.
He won everything because he's a very good swimmer.
Yeah, so eventually collect medals and diplomas and all that sort of thing.
From the water polo then came, for me, the competition in swimming as a sprinter. And it turns out I was lucky enough, I was a good sprinter. As a master swimmer, we started in Christchurch in New Zealand, Then we had international competition in Munich. And there were competition in America, in Stanford, at the university. Magnificent pools. Then we had competition in Sweden. We had international competition in Perth, in Australia. And what else we got? Italy. So I think that's enough of a list, isn't it? And no, I've won a lot of championships, and I still do today.
Each of them have their own connection with the water. Each of them bring their own special talent to the team. For the relay competition, they brought the best breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly and freestyle swimmers to the 360 category.
My best strokes competitively were butterfly and breaststroke, because my arms and legs seemed to work better together. That's the only reason. And then I had that terrible accident that prevented us doing the follow-up swim. Well, when I returned to the village, I couldn't wait to get back in the pool, because swimming is what I do. I can't run anymore. I walk with a stick, but when I'm in the water I'm like a fish. So life's good. But I think that I was very lucky in having Ray doing exercises and things with me, really.
I think the thing to realise is, although I'm now in my 90s, life still has plenty to offer. There are lots of challenges. It's good to exercise. It's a question of use it or lose it. And this applies mentally also. I try and do the puzzles in the paper, if possible. That is, if I can get them from my wife, who also likes to do them. So I'm sure social life is extremely important in keeping both physical and mental health. Yes, we're very fortunate in the retirement village. We have a very active social committee there, and we enjoy very much the interactions we get with other residents.
Cultivating an active social life is an important aspect that makes the 360 swimmers strong, both mentally and physically.
Also, there was a good social interaction with the Warringah Club. They are a very friendly group, and at the conclusion of each swimming session, everyone gathers for a cup of coffee and a chat together, which was good.
Champion swimmer. How are you, young fella? Good to see you up again. Good to catch up with you. You all right? We train in groups. We can train by yourself. I prefer to train with other people because it's a combination of factors. You probably do twice as much as you would do by yourself. The motto of Australian Masters Swimming is emblazoned on our cap, and I'll show you that. It's fitness, friendship and fun. The fitness you derive from the exercise. The friendship you get from working with people together. And in the end, it creates a friendship, and the friendship presumably creates the fun in the end.
You know, for some of the retired people who have been on their own for a long time, this may be their only social interaction. And so for that, you know, it's really very good. It keeps them engaged with society, it keeps them fit, and it gives them a purpose.
In their eyes, the passage of time is no challenge. They jump into the pool and train for as long as their bodies allow. Their positive attitude is reflected in their success.
That's our individual lives. As I said, each has a different pathway. Each have led a different life, come from different backgrounds, different cultures maybe.
Australia, being one of the most multicultural countries in the world, is the nation that brought the four men together, where swimming is their shared hobby and their mission. In a way, their separate childhood shaped their discipline to the sport.
I was born in 1925 on April the 1st, so I was born a fool in Kent in England and lived in South London, where my father was a policeman and my mother had been a nurse. And swimming in London was great because we had 3 swimming pools within walking distance. And ironically, when I joined the Navy as a boy, most of the other lads who came from the seaside towns couldn't swim. But we Londoners, and there were 11 of us, were all competent swimmers, boxers and soccer players. I'd always wanted to be a submarine captain, but of course in London at a 15-year-old we had nearly a year of constant bombing, so my schooling was interrupted and I had no chance of being commissioned. So I joined the Navy as a boy, spent most of my time with submarines, and luckily when I retired I always keep fairly fit. I had a swimming pool and swam. My adjacent neighbours would stop swimming as soon as the water got cool, but luckily I could swim for about 8 months of the year here.
Looking back on it, I had a very enjoyable childhood. I was brought up on a farm in the South Island of New Zealand. It was what it was called a mixed farm. We had cattle, we had sheep, we had dairy cows to milk in the mornings, and we also had horses to do the cultivation on the farms. It was quite an isolated community, and initially we walked or rode a pony about 3 miles to school. On a cold and frosty morning, that was quite an achievement, and looking back on it, that's probably how I developed the habits of always waking early in the morning and enjoying particularly mornings.
We always lived very close to the beach. I haven't got a great memory of any special events in my childhood. The first drama was moving from Coffs Harbour, where I was born, to Bondi Beach. I had to start a new school. I was about 10 then. My father was killed when I was about 10, I think, from memory. Yeah, an accident. He was bush bike riding and ran into the back of a truck, and he got up and got into the ambulance, and he was dead when they got to the hospital. One of those things that happened. So I have no great memories of him, and things were pretty rough. So I remember going to school and being sent home because they didn't have any shoes. Doesn't that make you cry? Got married and had kids and enjoyed teaching them all to swim.
As a youngster, we lived in the Dutch East Indies, which is now Indonesia, in Sumatra. And I was born in Holland on the 26th of July 1930. And I was only 6 weeks old when my parents returned to what's today Indonesia. And then the Japanese invaded in 1942. They were very difficult years. Now, from a very good, harmonious and happy life, suddenly everything is stopped and virtually destroyed. My father was taken a prisoner with the Japanese almost immediately within the first week. If I can picture and imagine how my mother felt, which I never realized until I became an adult, walking out with 3 young children, having to survive, where to go, and just being thrown out of your house. I really can't understand today how she would have felt. Before I got picked up, we were living near a small river, and this was more or less in a jungle. And every day my mother said, "The 3 of you go and swim in the river." And we spent a day there so you wouldn't be spotted by the Japanese. The Japanese were looking, they're always looking for people, for boys to work on. And that's where I learned to swim better. No coaching. The Japanese time was incredibly difficult, as you can imagine. So you just live to survive, and you learn to survive.
Very frustrated, yeah. So people were quite considerate, used to rubbish me. Yeah. But I didn't give up. But if there is something that the 4 of us have in common, it is perseverance and a positive attitude. I'm always try to be cheerful, and people seem to like my attitude. But it's so easy to go negative and be despondent and think this is the end of everything. But not for me. I'm in there. Keep swimming.
Ozzy's wife, whom he still misses to this day, passed away from cancer when Ozzy was in his 70s.
My wife was a very cheerful woman. I miss the wife terribly. Took me a couple of years, but I got despondent then. But here I am, over it now. Take my swimming.
Ozzy's wife was not there with him by the pool. John passed away before the competition. Perhaps the reality of life is contrasted by the pool, still and constant across the ages. Swimming is a sport with a long history. Yet in generational wave after wave, it constantly brings surprises and inspiration.
It's mentally very comforting. Now we all have times of stress, more stress, less stress, no stress. You're in the water, and even when you're training, your mind gets concentrating on other things. And it's a bit of a therapy, mental therapy as well. And for a lot of people it is. I know for sure. So that's a connection with the water.
I think it's a great exercise, swimming, and it's just exercise. You can't hurt yourself really.
You use all your joints when you're swimming. It's an exercise that doesn't carry your body weight. You feel light in the pool, and if swimming is relatively easy, then you just glide along. Give it a go. I'll always say, give it a go. And if you want a hand, just call me. You want me to come to your place? You want me to come to Beijing, Shanghai? Just let me know.
I feel it is very good, irrespective of age, to still keep a challenge in life. We're capable of more than probably we think we are, and we should try and keep going and do better. Use it or lose it.
Well, I think as you get older you can do more. I see Max in the pool with his grandchildren having the most amazing time. He's got them on his shoulder and they're jumping off his shoulder into the water. If you're elderly and active, it's quite well respected, and the kids love it.
So make time to look after your own health. Just get out of bed and do it. Just do it.
I honestly believe that swimming in salt water strengthens your resistance against colds.
So in the mornings, the thing is, get your feet on the floor and get up and at it.
So I'm looking forward to next year knocking off either the short course relay or the long course relay. It doesn't matter.
People say to me, oh, you're too old to do this, you're too old to do that. I say, you're never too old. You're always still young enough to be able to do exercise, to be able to swim, which is probably the best exercise, and to follow Ozzy's example and John Williams' example, and to keep doing it as long as you live. Because they say you don't stop swimming because you get old because you stop swimming.
I think if I stop, boom, that'll be the death of me. But there you go. I'll live forever while I swim. Yes.